Hello, this is Farley and welcome to a small tour, a very small tour of the Almaty Metro. And we're starting off here at the Ozayov Theatre.
You can learn a lot about a country from its subway or metro system.
So, for 120 tenge, that's 17 pence, you get one of these. Now that entitles you to a journey, I believe.
So, let's talk about why this is the newest Soviet metro in the whole world, despite only being built in 2011. For context, that is before the release of the first iPad. It is before the movie Inception. But look, what really matters is that work actually started in September 1988, well before the end of the Soviet Union. Anyway, back to the story. After independence, the country realised that they needed to stop these tunnels falling into a state of disrepair. And eventually, in 2005, they sorted the funding and they could really crack on from there. Everything was wrapped up and this was opened in 2011. But look, we're in 2025 now and there are talks of an extension. And look, while we're here, I need to apologise. You might have noticed you are getting voiceover Farley today. Well, that is because, at least at the very start of this video, I did make a mistake with my recording. So I have lost all of the beautiful words that I said. The USSR might be a distant memory, but you can see in the design of these stations that they do hark back to those stations that you see in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. And what's special is that every station is different. It mixes history, culture to tell a unique story. Anyway, next stop, my favourite, Baikonur. And here we are, some 20 meters underground. We are here in Baikonur Station, named after that famous cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Baikonur was effectively the Cape Canaveral of the Soviet space program. It's where Sputnik 1, Vostok 1 all launched from. It is the home, metaphorically, of Yuri Gagarin. It is hugely, hugely important. It's situated in the south of the country, still run by Russia actually. However, it is Kazakhstan and the locals are understandably proud of that. As you'd expect, everything in here has a space theme. Anyway, on to the next station and you'll be pleased to know the voiceovers are now complete.
So you're wondering how quick do these bad boys go? You're talking 25 miles an hour, that's around 40 kilometers an hour. You also get trains coming every 10 minutes, although that increases to every 8 minutes during rush hour.
And this is Abai station. Now this is named after a famous Kazakh poet. He was known as a thinker, a composer, and is a national hero. Now, it's going to be very difficult for me to say his name. So let me take another look and try and do this properly. Abai Kunan Bayuli. That is almost certainly wrong, but this station is in his honour. As you can see here, quite a big fella. And here we have some of his words. One thing I do like is this, which tells you which station you are on the line. So you can see that's one end. You come along, and there, with the double red, is Abai, with the direction pointing you on, so you know what's next. Lots of beautiful local rock, and we are incidentally in the deepest of all the metro stations on the line. Now we have one more station to head on to. There's actually another 3 more after that, but we're going to finish at Almaly, which is apparently the final one of the sort of must-see stations in the city. If you're looking at this and thinking, it looks pretty familiar, well, that is because these are all made by Hyundai, and they are very, very similar to those in South Korea. So you might, if you've been on the metro in South Korea, in Seoul,
you might have been on something that looks very, very similar to this.
Almaly, we are here. So this is Almaly, arguably the most beautiful of all the stations. We're talking marble floors, we're talking granite pillars, and these beautiful mosaics that feature. Again, you have these high ceilings, these chandeliers, much like the metro that you see in Russia.
So that is the end of our journey to the world's newest Soviet metro station. A place that was opened a long, long time after the USSR fell. In fact, so recently that Russia had already been awarded the 2018 FIFA World Cup when this was opened. It's an incredible place, well worth checking out.
But before we leave, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.